Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, because in yesterday's video, if you guys will remember, we were discussing this head and shoulders pattern that we saw on the Bitcoin chart, and I was talking about how there was a pretty good chance that that was going to cause a downtrend in Bitcoin. As we can see here now, guys, we have actually broken bearish below the neckline, and Bitcoin is in a falling wedge trending to the downside. I want to talk about in today's video what this means for Bitcoin and whether or not Bitcoin is about to continue even lower, because we have actually, in fact, broken below $10,000. This could be bad for the next couple of days, or good depending on how you look at it. I always think Bitcoin crashing is good because I get to buy more on the cheap. But anyway, guys, we're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video. And we also have a little bit of news having to do with Backed, because Backed futures user testing has now launched. Guys, we have one more step in the right direction towards Backed being fully launched. That's a very big deal. We'll talk about that more later on in today's video. Before we dive on into it, I do want to remind you that we are still running the sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. If you use the coupon code 25K2019, that coupon code is to celebrate the channel hitting 25,000 subscribers, guys. That is insane. Thank you so very much. If you use that coupon code, you'll get $40 off, on the course if you are looking to learn how to do technical analysis so you can make the most out of this bull market, both on the ups and the downs. A great way to do so is with CT2A. Link is in the description. Anyway, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. I want to start off, of course, the way that we normally do by getting you guys caught up to speed on where we are in case you've been living under a rock for the last couple of weeks. Bitcoin, of course, did have a 300+% rally all the way up to $14,000. A lot of people thought we were going straight to 20. I didn't really think we were going to do that, and it just so happened that we were live streaming up here when Bitcoin crashed. I was very concerned. There were a lot of people asking me, Jeb, should I buy up here? Jeb, should I buy up here? I'm like, no, I don't really think you should buy up here. We're overextended. I mean, we just had this happen. No, you probably shouldn't. Bitcoin crashed, and for the last month, Bitcoin has been in a downtrend. Now, in a couple videos ago, about 2 videos ago, I want to say it was, I was looking for Bitcoin to perhaps start a new uptrend. When that was happening, I want to show you where we were. Bitcoin had a trend like this. None of this price action forward had happened yet, and Bitcoin was kind of in the very early stages of what could be considered the beginning of a rally, and as I talked about in that video, it wasn't confirmed yet. There were many reasons why it was not confirmed yet. One of the reasons it wasn't confirmed was because we had not actually, as of yet, had a cross on the MACD on the daily chart. I'll show you more about that because, as you can see, we have an update here to talk about. And we hadn't seen a lot of other things happen, like the RSI staying in overbought territory for long enough to confirm that we were, in fact, in an uptrend. It was shaky at best, and because of that, Bitcoin did actually fail and continued going to the downside. Bitcoin needs to prove that it's bullish because we've already proven that we're bearish. Right now, we're bearish, and we have to prove to the market and prove to the traders and ourselves that Bitcoin is bullish. It's not the other way around. We don't have to prove that we're bearish. We've been bearish for a month. You understand that we're doing kind of the whole guilty until proven innocent thing. We want to be innocent until proven guilty because we are bearish until proven bullish. That's what we're talking about here. And Bitcoin, because we couldn't prove ourselves as bullish, has actually remained bearish and continued to the downside. If you're looking for a place that Bitcoin rejected off of, I will very roughly give you a place where Bitcoin rejected off of. This kind of center trend line right here going through the downtrend that Bitcoin has been in over the last several months, over the last month roughly, was right around the place that we rejected. That's very bearish actually, because if Bitcoin was able to get up here and reject off of this one, if we rejected up here, that would have meant that Bitcoin had more bullishness in the tank. Because we couldn't even get past this midpoint, that is not very bullish. That's, in fact, quite bearish. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to die or anything, but it does mean that Bitcoin is probably going to be heading to the downside, at least for another week or so. I still think we're very bullish for Bitcoin in 2019. I think that there's a decent chance that we hit $20,000 before the end of the year, but it is going to take a little bit more consolidation, and that date might be pushed off into early 2020. Now, with all of that longer-term kind of world-building stuff out of the way, let's get on into the nitty-gritty with the technical analysis and the technical indicators. Of course, guys, like I said in yesterday's video, we were looking at a head and shoulders pattern here. It played out almost perfectly. If you wanted to draw a price target for a head and shoulders pattern, you can draw it something like this. There's different ways to draw it. This is the way I normally do it, from the head down to the shoulder line. If you were to draw a price target like this and extrapolate out where Bitcoin should be headed, it would put us around $9,700. And let me show you why that's actually a pretty reasonable place for Bitcoin to go. It just so happens that there's previous support and resistance over here around $9,000 to $9,750. $9,700 to $9,750. Right around there in this area right in here, that is a pretty strong support and resistance zone. Bitcoin has been testing this area quite a lot, actually. We saw Bitcoin came down right here. Saw Bitcoin had a bottom right here. And then we saw Bitcoin came down, had a bottom right in the same zone. We traded around it. We broke bullish. There's a decent amount of trading around that area, and it wouldn't be surprising for Bitcoin to have a pit stop there at least before it heads lower if Bitcoin does decide that it wants to head lower. And guys, while I'm confident that Bitcoin's going to at least go down to this level of support before doing anything else, it's hard to say exactly what Bitcoin's going to do from there. I will tell you what my gut is telling me, and I'm going to start doing this because a lot of times my gut is telling me something and I don't tell you guys what my gut is telling me, and then it turns out my gut was right and I should have told you in the first place, so you can believe me when I say that I knew this was coming. I have a feeling that Bitcoin is going to at least come down here to this downtrending level of support. Now, I don't have a whole lot of technical indicators to back that up, although I do have some, and we'll get to those in just a second. But that is mainly coming from my gut. And I've been working in these markets doing technical analysis on this chart every single day for coming up on 2 years, 1 week from today. So I know what I'm talking about, and my gut has been very well trained. It's very important that you have a strong gut. That's why we talk about that in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. No one else talks about that. It's so important. I have a gut that has been trained on Bitcoin. Now, maybe it's not as great on some of the altcoins, but you know what? I do know what I'm talking about on Bitcoin, and it's telling me that we're going to have more bearishness. Now, I'll get into technical indicators that back that up here in just a second because I don't want to just say, I have a feeling, and then throw that out at you. I'm not reading from a crystal ball as much as I like to make that joke. I do, however, want you guys to understand that just because I think something's going to happen doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to. I do know what I'm talking about on Bitcoin, but at the same time, there are a lot of people that know what they're talking about that are wrong. It's not impossible for me to be wrong. I've been wrong many times in the past. I'll be wrong many times in the future, just like every single other human being that metabolizes oxygen on planet Earth. So make sure you're doing your own research before you do any trades. I don't want you guys going to YouTube, watching a technical analysis video, and then go making a trade based purely off of one person's opinion. Use your own head that God put on your shoulders to go do your own TA before you make your trades. It's good for you to listen to people like me and Carl and Sonny D. Cree and Alessio and everyone. Yes, I'm name dropping because I like all of those guys. Go watch them as well. Watch all of us, get our opinions, but make sure you're able to formulate your own opinion before you make any trades. Very important. I know we got a little off topic, but it's important that you guys understand that because a lot of people do that, and I don't want you to. Anyway, I'm going to climb off of my soapbox and I want to start showing you guys some technical indicators. The first one that I want to look at is one that I hinted a little bit earlier. I talked about how we were starting to look bullish on the MACD earlier, but we hadn't had any confirmation yet. And this is exactly why I said that, because we saw that MACD started converging in on itself right over here. Right on this day right here, Bitcoin's MACD started converging bullish. That didn't last for long, and that's why I was saying that before we can say that Bitcoin's in a new rally or in a new uptrend, we need to wait for that bullish cross on the daily MACD, and we didn't get it. As we can see, we have actually started diverging bearish, which is not a good thing, at least if you want Bitcoin to rally. I think it's a good thing because I want Bitcoin to crash so I can buy more of it. Nevertheless, however you look at it, Bitcoin has actually had some bearish divergence coming up on the MACD, and that's a trend that's probably going to play out for at least the next couple of days, depending on how the rest of this market plays out. Likewise, we can see that the RSI and stochastic RSI are starting to move to the downside. They have a bearish momentum to them at this point. That's why people call the RSI and Stoch RSI momentum oscillators. They have some momentum, and that momentum is to the downside. All three oscillators on the daily chart are not looking great. I'm not very happy with any of them, and I am looking for more bearishness to come to Bitcoin. I don't think we're done yet, which is why I said, yes, my gut is telling me that we're going to go down here, but I do have technicals to back that up. I will sometimes tell you what my gut is telling me, but I will, if at all possible, give you technicals to back that up. Now, I do look over here at the Bitcoin price, and it looks like something may be happening right here in the short term. Bitcoin's moving up just a little bit. Guys, whatever happens here in the next 20, 30 minutes, an hour, 5 hours, whatever happens here, Bitcoin is still in a short-term downtrend. If Bitcoin can prove itself that it is bullish, in the same way you have to prove someone guilty because they are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law in the United States, if you have some kind of proof that Bitcoin is bullish, then we can be bullish. But for right now, we have to err on the side of caution and assume that Bitcoin is going to be bearish because that's the trend that is already in. That's how you want to look at trends. You don't want to just look at a trend and say, okay, well, this is bullish, even though it's showing bearishness. If it's a bearish trend, you need to wait for proof that we're bullish. You can't just say, okay, it looks like it's going to go bullish and then make a trade. You need to wait for proof, or in technical analysis circles, what we would call a confirmation of that bullishness, which is why I laid out all those confirmations a couple videos ago. If you go back 2 videos, we talked about that. So guys, with all of that out of the way, where does that leave Bitcoin and what does that mean for Bitcoin? Where is Bitcoin headed from here? Well guys, like I said, my gut combined with the technicals, combined with the fact that Bitcoin didn't get above this midline and all the bearish technicals out on the daily chart, combined with the fact that RSI is trending to the downside on the hourly chart, combined with some of the oscillators here on the 4-hourly, like the fact that the MACD is bearish and had a cross, RSI is trending downwards in the overbought territories, keeping all of that in mind, it seems to me that Bitcoin is quite bearish. Now, let me show you something. One of the other ways you can determine what trend Bitcoin is in is where the RSI is. This is something that I learned recently. It's something that I'd always kind of thought about, but I'd never really made into a concrete part of my technical analysis, and this is somewhere that I've developed. Someone posted this in the Discord server, and I liked it so much that I pinned it. If you go to the Discord server, you can join the link in the description. If you go there, I pinned a message, a post that someone put about how to define uptrends and how to define downtrends. And one of the ways that they were talking about defining uptrends and downtrends is where the RSI is. If the RSI is trending and staying down here around 30 or 40, then you're in a downtrend. If Bitcoin's RSI is staying around here up at like 60, 70, 80, then you're in an uptrend. It's not just about looking at reversals. That's another signal that you can get from the RSI is where it's trending. If it's trending up here, you're probably in an uptrend. If it's trending down here, you're probably in a downtrend. Very intuitive. It's something that I've been looking at anyway, but it's something I never really managed to put into words so that I could tell you guys. That was kind of still in the gut feeling zone. It's easier now that I can pull that out and show it to you in a concrete way. That's something else you can look at, and right now RSI is sitting down here in this overbought territory and probably will be for the next couple of days. I want to keep an eye on that. On the daily chart and the 4-hourly chart, you can't really tell because Bitcoin's only been in a downtrend for a little while, but here on the hourly chart, it's very clear what I was talking about. Bitcoin's RSI has been below 50 all of this time. All of this down here has been below 50. That is very clear indication that we're in a downtrend. So guys, two more things, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. The first thing I want to talk about is where Bitcoin is going and price targets, and then I want to talk about how we can see confirmation that the bearishness is over and how we can prove that Bitcoin is in fact innocent and that we can start moving to the upside. And how we can prove that Bitcoin is in fact guilty, and then we can start moving to the upside with all those guilty bulls out there. Anyway, the first thing, like I said, I want to talk about are price targets. Very clearly, the price targets we're looking at here, guys, this line right here, that's where Bitcoin is probably going to go. It's probably going to go there today unless we break bullish. That very well may happen. I don't want to discount that fact. There's a good chance that Bitcoin breaks bullish here, and then we come up here and test this and break bearish again. There's a chance that that happens, and there is a chance that Bitcoin proves that it is bullish earlier than we thought. That happens sometimes. But in general, with the technical analysis we have now, I've shown you all the technical indicators. They're all agreeing with me at the moment. If Bitcoin does anything, it's more likely, based on a technical standpoint, that Bitcoin is going to come down here, and it's probably going to test both of these lines right here at $9,000 roughly and this downtrend of support. I have a feeling that Bitcoin's going to come down here and test this. This is where previous support and resistance is. And also this downtrend is the downtrend of support in this downtrending market. Both of those are levels of support. Should Bitcoin break either one of them, or should Bitcoin break this downtrend of support especially, and we start heading further to the downside, that may be bad. If that happens, then it's probably not going to be the end of the world or anything, but we are more than likely going to come down here and test the 100 moving average. If we fall below that, then there's reason to be concerned. Right now, guys, I don't see any reason that we would. If I were to say anything's going to happen to Bitcoin, we're probably going to come down here somewhere in this zone. And if and when we do, I'm going to be buying so much Bitcoin, my banker is going to call me and get mad at me because I'm taking away his money that he was giving to other people and making money on their interest. That's how mad he's going to be. Nevertheless, with all of that said, those are the price targets. So like I said, let's wrap up with how Bitcoin could actually reverse here, because this could happen at any time. It could happen before this video goes live, or it could happen 3 or 4 days from now. But I want to show you different things that can happen for Bitcoin to reverse. First and foremost, one thing that could happen before this video goes live is that Bitcoin, instead of continuing down here like this or breaking bearish, Bitcoin could just come down here to this support and bounce and break this downtrend of resistance right here. Should that happen, Bitcoin is going to be on an hourly chart rally, maybe even like a 30-minute chart rally, very short-term rally. And then as you have a rally building, you have the rally in the 30-minute chart, then the rally is visible on the hourly chart, then on the 4-hourly chart, then on the daily chart, the weekly, the monthly, and then you build into bull markets. The longer the rally goes on, the more you can see it on higher time frames. So if Bitcoin does get a bounce here, maybe this is the beginning of something, maybe, but we're going to need to see Bitcoin start getting above levels of resistance like that. Likewise, you're going to need to look at the oscillators like I showed you earlier. You want to see RSI sitting up here around 60, 70, 80. You want to see bullish crosses and bullish divergence or convergence, depending on which side of the histogram you're on. On the MACD, you want to see the stochastic stochastic RSI moving up and being in overbought territory, those are all confirmations of bullishness. Right now, we don't have a single one of them, so I have to err on the side of bearishness because that's the trend we're already in. If that changes, I will keep you guys updated. If something major happens, hopefully today I can do a live stream on it. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to do it for the technical analysis portion of today's video, so I do want to go ahead and dive on into the news portion. This is going to be very brief, so go ahead and stick with me through this, but this is important. Bakkt begins Bitcoin futures user testing on schedule. If you guys don't know what Bakkt is, I highly encourage you to go find out. I will give you a brief rundown, but it's not something I can get into a whole lot of detail with here in one video when we're already running pretty long. Bakkt is a cryptocurrency exchange that is a Bitcoin futures exchange, to be more specific, that is being launched by the Intercontinental Exchange. That's what this says up here. Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, is the exchange that owns the New York Stock Exchange, which is worth what's NYSE worth. It's over $10 trillion. It's very, very valuable, and Bakkt is being launched by those same people. That being said, you obviously know that the people behind Bakkt know exactly what they're doing. There is no question about that. They have proven themselves to know what they're doing time and time again, or they wouldn't own the largest stock exchange on planet Earth. And because of that, this is a very bullish development for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is now going to be brought to the masses with futures contracts that are going to be available to people that otherwise may not have gotten into the cryptocurrency space. And today, they have launched their user testing. Bakkt had previously announced that user acceptance testing would start on the 22nd of July, so yesterday's confirmation of this would seem like quite a coup if this date hadn't already been postponed multiple times. I'm going to skip through all of this, and I'm basically going to wrap it up with ICE was supposed to launch Bakkt back in August of 2018, as it says right here. It didn't get launched, and it's nearly a year late because of CFTC approval. They went through some, not back channels, but they managed to get CFTC approval without the CFTC actually saying anything, because they got approved by default. The CFTC has now accidentally approved Bitcoin futures with Bakkt, because that's how the government works, and then Bakkt has managed to actually be approved, at least for user testing. They're not fully approved for launch, so it's going to take a little bit of time for that to happen, and because there's been so many delays, ICE is hesitant to actually give a proper date on when the actual launch will come. But if they're doing user testing, it's reasonable to assume that the actual launch is going to come sometime this year or early next year. Very big stuff, guys. This piece of news isn't the biggest thing in the world. This isn't a very big fundamental change, but it is a step in the right direction towards a massive fundamental change. Having ICE launching Bakkt is a big deal, guys. I cannot stress to you enough how important it is that we have that happen. Institutional investment is going to be what fuels the next bull market for Bitcoin. It's going to be what fuels the continued development and growth of the space, and Bakkt is one of the greatest ways that we can do that. TD Ameritrade is working on exchanges. We have a lot of different things going on with institutions, but Bakkt is by far and away the biggest one that we have going on right now. There's still news of the Bitcoin ETF that may be coming in the future. Hopefully that does happen, but even if it doesn't, it's okay. Bakkt is a big deal. It was going to be the biggest news story of 2018. Since it's been postponed so long, it's probably going to be the biggest news story of 2019 or early 2020. Nevertheless, guys, this is a big deal, and I am very, very happy to hear that they are moving in the right direction and that user testing has now started. Anyway, guys, I do hope you did enjoy today's video and you learned a thing or two. Hopefully, I was able to convey myself pretty well. I was up quite late last night, and I'm a little sleepy, even though I have some coffee in front of me. For some reason, I'm not drinking a whole lot of it, so maybe I'll... Oh, coffee. Guys, I do love my coffee, and you guys like to make fun of me when I drink coffee, which is why I keep drinking coffee. Anyway, guys, like I said, this is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. I do hope you did enjoy today's video. Before we wrap it up, though, I do want to mention again that we are still running the sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. We did get off into the weeds a little bit about how to do technical analysis and how to do certain things in today's video. If you want over 10 hours of content, nearly 10 hours of content, about 9.5 hours of content of me doing just that and showing you how to do things from the very basics of how to set up TradingView and Binance, and this video will be updated after the Binance thing goes through. If you want to learn the very basics like that, or more advanced stuff like all the different technical indicators, and much more advanced things like all the concepts down here, whether you're a starter and you're a beginner in the cryptocurrency space, or you've already been working in the cryptocurrency space for a year or two, even longer, and you want to learn more about the market, and you want to learn more about how to do technical analysis, the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy is a great place to do it, guys. We've had over 700 people go through the course, and they all love it. I'm very, very proud of what we managed to build here, and I'm very happy every single time one of you guys emails me me or message me on Discord or says in the comment section how much the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy has helped you to learn how to trade and how to be profitable in these markets. If you're unprofitable and you need that last step to push you over into profitability, or you don't even know where to start and you don't know what any of these words on screen before you even mean, it's a great way to start. I built this course so the very beginner could go through it and then go all the way down to being a much more advanced technical analyst, but also so that if you already know what you're talking about, that you can skip that part and you can just read the technical analysis and watch these videos down here and learn things that you may not have known already. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. Like I said, the coupon code is in the description down below. You can click the link down there, go to the sales page, look at everything you want, and if you enjoy what you see, you can click purchase, and then you can use the coupon code at checkout, 25K 2019 for $40 off. I do hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, make sure you drop a like and hit that subscribe button. We just passed 25K. I want to get us a silver play button during 2020, so let's see if we can get there. I do hope you guys did enjoy, as I've said a couple times, so we're going to wrap it up. I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.